Hey, Dr. Juan Santos. I've got right here in front of me this interesting read on dealing with loneliness, and I I think I was listening to the radio where they talked about the impact of loneliness on our entire health, mind and body. So I've got a couple of really interesting points here, and this one's from the CDC. So on there it says that loneliness is linked to a series of mental health conditions, and these include risk for heart disease, increased rates of depression and anxiety. So something I want you to think about here is when it comes to loneliness, really consider the definition. And one that I want you to look at is the distinction between loneliness, such as social isolation, and taking a social break. So that's how I like to differ the two. I like to look at social isolation and then social break. So a social break could be where you get out of work and maybe you're exhausted. You're like, I need a little time for myself. So you decide to get off work, grab a book, head to the park alone under a tree, right? So you're isolating yourself from others. In this context, it's healthy. And then when we look at social isolation, right, that's like on a big picture where maybe a couple of days go by and you haven't spoken to anybody. Maybe a couple of days go by and you haven't even made eye contact with others, right? You're still going into society, but you're not making eye contact, right? You're not going, hey, how was your day? Or thank you for holding that door. And through that isolation, an effect takes place. So here's research, right? Research shows that social isolation impacts these areas. Number one, higher risk for dementia. Number two, higher risk for stroke. Number three, risk is hospitalization, broad there hospitalization, but I want you to think about stroke, I want you to think about dementia, I want you to think about increased rates of depression, anxiety, such as a panic attack. The other ones here, poor social skills, which that one kind of makes sense. If you think about you're socially isolating yourself, at some point you get to a position where those skills, your social skills, they start to go down, right? It's like a muscle. It starts to just, get a little bit weaker and weaker over time. And then you have risk of heart disease. So with these, here's a couple of ways that you can address it. Number one, awareness, right? Take a look at your life, reflect, and consider, are you taking social breaks or are you socially isolating? And you're going to be able to feel the difference, and you'll feel the difference through certain symptoms. Maybe look at the last month. If you're stuck and you're thinking, have I been taking a social break, or am I socially isolating myself? Do you feel a bit more in that depressed category? It could be sad. It could be low motivation, low interest. Do you feel overly worried? Do you get a little bit anxious when you go out and you try to socialize with others? Does it feel odd or awkward? A little more than usual, right? So those could be those initial signs. Is your body doing something different? Do you feel tension here on the shoulders, but there's no danger or threat going on? Yet you're out in society and you're hanging out with others, and it's doing that to you. Or you're around others, not hanging out with others, right? So those could be some of those signs to be aware of that let you know what, maybe I've been isolating myself a little bit too long. So number one, I typically always try to go with some sort of awareness, try to figure out what's happening. Number two, so we want to focus on our relationships. Look at the relationship that you have. If you got 5 relationships in your life, 1, 2, let's count 3, 4, 5. Look at those 5. And the focus here is invest in them. Put a little more effort in there. Sometimes it could be difficult to get a whole bunch of people together, so you may just want to do a one-on-one thing. So my encouragement there when it comes to social isolation is try to reach out to these people that are already in your circle, and then just start to feed those relationships. If they're plants, right? Add a little water to each one of them. A little more water, a little more water, a little sun. And then before you know it, those social skills that were just a little bit rough around the edges because you haven't been sharpening them, they start to get a little bit sharper, right? A little less dual, a little more used to, right, the movement. And then number 3, reach out to a counselor. We've got amazing counselors here at Santos Counseling. Reach out to us. Together we could look at what's happening if social isolation is taking place. To what degree is impacting your life and those around you? And then also, how is it impacting your area of functioning, right? That's a really important area, because you may social isolate and be like, I'm fine, I don't need to see people. But what happens when it starts to bridge over into your job, your job, and starts to cause issues there? Or maybe intimate relationship. What happens when it has issues in that category? So those kind of can be a big wake-up call for people of, oh, something's off here. Right? So counseling is a really amazing step to take, where you're working with an individual, getting the ball rolling, addressing challenges, overcoming XYZ. Reach out to us. You can text if you ever just have a counseling question. Text our front office 336-663-6570. Information is in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of the day.